live from Studio 6B on a Friday night at the America First Warehouse. Welcome on in, everybody. When I say the gang is all here, I mean the gang is all here. I think this is the first time all six of us have been together. Vinnie Mac, Slick Rick, Paul Nolan, Kevin Downey Jr., Rick Delgado, all in the house on a Friday night. Real America's Voice. Glad you're in, everybody. Lots to do, lots to talk about live from the America First Warehouse. It's going to be a great 2 hours. Want to welcome everybody joining on Real America's Voice, of course. And if you're on social media, at RAV social media or on our social media, welcome on in as well. We'll get into the chat during the breaks, but glad you're here on a busy Friday night. Vinnie Mac, how are you?
I'm doing great. I thought you said it was a birthday party. We all showed up. Whose birthday was it?
No birthday party. Just a Friday night.
I'm impressed. We got pizza. We got a great salad. These guys, they really did it up tonight. I'm feeling good.
I heard we had honey bourbon, too, no?
No.
What?
No honey bourbon
I
here.
was told there'd be bourbon.
There was Mabel.
Is that how we got you there?
Oh, Mabel.
Yeah. Slick Rick, how are you?
Doing good, Big D.
How was your day?
Fantastic.
What's coming up in sport? We got a big weekend in sports.
Wow,
really.
we got to talk about that. Obviously, the big Final Four matchup tomorrow night.
We're gonna make our picks on those two games tonight.
Well, we've already made our picks. We're going to tell everybody about what our picks are.
Well, true. Yes, we've with the bracket challenge is going to come to an end here.
I haven't picked yet.
Yes,
I'm waiting to the end, then I'll figure it out.
Vince
Oh,
picking the Celtics. and the
Absolutely.
Yankees.
Yeah, little Bryson DeChambeau praising President Trump, of course, on the golf course. And the Education Department creates a special team to investigate staggering amount of complaints about Title IX. That should be fun.
Okay, very good. We'll get into all that with sports. Sports is brought to you by our friend Mike Lindell, of course. Paul Nolan, how are you?
I am well, my friend.
Very good. How was your day?
It was outstanding. I did nothing.
Okay, that's always a good day. Now you're here. Kevin Downey Jr., how are you?
Big D, thank you.
I heard you did a big show last night.
Big show last night, fundraiser for the Nassau County NRA.
Nice.
Who else would you call of all the comics? I got that one. Oh, you know what? I'm going to be in Saratoga Springs next week. If anyone's around Saratoga Springs, the Comedy Works, Friday and Saturday, 3 big shows. I'll be funny at least one of them.
Okay, very good.
Get your tickets early.
Yeah, get your tickets early. Kevin Downey Jr. in Saratoga Springs.
You horsing around.
I was just going to say, are the horses running? No, they're not running yet.
Not yet.
But man, what a time that would be in the summer if you're ever up there, man. Go up there, see Kevin Downey Jr. be funny, and then go bet the horses, baby, at the track.
And then lose all your money.
And lose all your money.
You'll laugh,
exactly.
you'll cry, you'll kiss 7,000 goodbye.
Exactly.
A lot of bourbon.
Exactly.
I did horse season in 2018. I was there from the first day to the last. And Saratoga Springs is a great town, except for your liver. For your liver, it's not that good.
No,
I love
it's
it.
not.
Yeah. Rick Delgado, how are you?
I am good.
That's all you're going to get.
What?
I know that.
That's a shocking answer.
He's
all
in
you
deep
I
thought.
am. You know what? After yesterday's debacle,
Yeah.
today is a much sunshinier day.
I heard. I spoke to you
Yes.
off air. I'm glad you had a nice, successful day.
I have a very successful
Very good.
day, and I saved more than 15%. I will tell you that, my friend.
Yes, you did, because you dumped them. Yeah,
Exactly.
So, all right, very good. Well, lots to do tonight, and it's funny because I think it was last night's show, Vinnie Mac. I was talking about Victor Davis Hansen's article, and what did he say? He said in that article that he does not think the Supreme Court can sit around much longer.
Yeah.
And he thought that the Supreme Court at some point here in the next, I think he gave them 3 to 4 weeks. 30 days, I think, was his max, where he said John Roberts has got to get it together. Well, John Roberts didn't get it together. Of course, he sided with the 4 of the 5-4 decision, but he didn't join in either one of the dissents, which I don't really know why people are pointing to that as some victory. But huge win for President Trump today, at least a first one, which you got to start somewhere on these, and what is going on with these district court judges thinking that they were elected to run the country for 330 million people. But the Supreme Court enters a stay, finally, ensuring that the Department of Education does not need to reinstate millions of dollars of canceled programming. As important, SCOTUS says the TRO is rightfully appealed. And hopefully this is just the beginning of many more to come. And I found it interesting, Vin, because we just talked about this last night.
Yeah, well, I'm happy that happened, but here's where I'm frustrated. 5-4?
Yeah, well.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
5-4. It's like, it's so close. And even the dissents, even what they wrote about it, It's a crisis. I think people don't really fully, at least the Supreme Court doesn't fully understand. This is a crisis. This isn't like just one of these average run-of-the-mill, court cases that, Trump's appealing, whatever. This is a major crisis. It's a real constitutional crisis. And it goes 5-4. I mean, that's as partisan as it could possibly be. And they're not supposed to be partisan.
Yeah,
they're supposed to be objective, and they're supposed to be ruling off the Constitution. And they have thrown that out the window just by that 5-4.
I've said it a million times. I don't understand how there could be a conservative or a liberal Supreme Court justice. Follow the rule of law, and that's it. Have no emotional feeling towards a subject. It's very frustrating.
When they are vetted, though, this is how they vet them. Well, what do you think about abortion? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? You know what? They shouldn't be asked any of those questions. They should just be asked about, their ability to judge off the Constitution.
Well,
and very simple, but they get picked because of those things.
Well, that pesky Constitution has been in the way for a long time for globalism and centralized power. So, as we all say here, it's the Marxists have control, and this is what we're seeing. They've infiltrated almost every level and layer of courts.
Yeah, and this is why we always joke that we're 2 conservative justices away. When Amy Coney Barrett was put up after we went through the Kavanaugh debacle, we finally thought, well, geez, maybe we're finally getting to somewhat of a conservative court. And then you look at decisions like this, 5-4. And we always say, you get these judges, they get in there, and then all of a sudden they're not textualists. They don't judge like they try to sell themselves during the confirmation process. And you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, and something that was never meant to be a right is all of a sudden a right. And then you wake up and things that are clear you would think are 9-0 decisions are 5-4, and you're holding your breath. And it just seems no matter how many Supreme Court justices President Trump has had, how many now? 4? 3 or 4? We always seem like we're 2 away.
Yeah. And what's crazy is that, you say they shouldn't be these questions, Paul, but of course, if you didn't ask these questions, you wouldn't know what to expect. We know what to expect from these people. And the fact that they're asked these questions and the way they answer, we know, okay, it's going to be either a conservative justice or it's going to be a liberal one. And the liberal ones never seem to err on the side of conservatism. Meanwhile, we're always doing that dance that Damon was just talking about. It's like, we don't know where they're going to end up. You got a Justice Roberts who's basically a Democrat. He vacations with these people from the world courts that we're finding out.
Yep.
And then you got Amy Coney Barrett, who seemed like a rock star during her confirmation hearing. Remember, she's answering these questions. She holds up her pad, basically not needing notes to answer all their questions. And what happens? Roberts gets his teeth into her. And somehow, I don't know what happened. Maybe they got something. Maybe they got a little something on her that nobody knows about, that she doesn't want coming out. You never know. You never know, because that's how they control people, right? This is what we've learned. It's about the control that they have over these people, and that's why they end up the way they do.
I mean, it seems to me that the Chief Justice, certainly ACB, seems to have been taken under his wing, and the 2 of them seem like they're much more worried about how the D.C. cocktail parties are going to view them than actually doing what they were picked to do. Because John Roberts just seems as political. I mean, thinking back to even Obamacare and rewriting the laws to make it a tax, and I mean, he seems much more worried about what the media is going to say about him and how he's going to be viewed around D.C. than anything having to do with actually being a jurist.
He really worries me. First of all,
and
this should be 7-2. There should be 7-2 or 9-zip.
It should be 9-0.
It should be 9-zip, but we know what we got. We got 2 that, no matter what is happening, if it's against Trump.
I'm going to say 3.
Oh, yeah? I think fair argument.
And you know what? It kills me that there's people making laws for the entire nation, one of them at least, who's too afraid to define what a woman is. It's not that she can't. She was afraid to, because that goes against the narrative of the commie pinko Democratic left.
Yeah, without a doubt. The peer pressure amongst each other, and they all double down on who could be the most woke. It's like a competition to see who could be the biggest jackass.
Yeah.
And they'll just double down on stupid nonstop.
Well, hopefully it's one of whether this wakes them up and they finally get off the Harry, get your fat ass off the couch deal for that Trump said. I don't know if this is if they're finally going to do it, but at least there's one here today. And maybe send a message that says, we're still here. At least say something.
You would think, but according
and Roberts being I don't know.
Roberts is a concern.
I mean, he really is just a concern.
Right. Well, but according to this article in Politico, Justice Kagan said in her 2-page dissent that she thinks that her colleagues erred by taking up the matter to begin with. So she doesn't think they should be involved at all, which should be a major red flag, because what we've been saying is the Supreme Court needs to take this stuff up and clear the air and make a decision one way or another, so these district court judges know, hey, you guys are outside your lane, get back.
Yeah, but it's not even one way or the other. If they ruled, God forbid, in favor of these district court judges being able to do this stuff, we get nowhere.
Then it's over.
We get nowhere, no matter who's in office. If the Republicans are in office, we're going to do judge shopping, and if the Democrats, they're going to do judge shopping. Everything stops. The country basically ceases to run. So they have to. They can't just let this go. And if they rule against it, wow, I can't even imagine where that takes us.
Yeah, and then what are the chances that, Congress finally grows a spine and says, we got to get these judges and these courts back in order, and the judges decide, hey, we're going to hold you in contempt for trying to take away our power.
Yeah. And Congress isn't going to do it. It's too close.
And it's kind of terrifying. We were one vote away. One vote away from another level of communism that we're not going to get rid of once it's here.
The thing you mentioned Congress, and it just makes me. Sometimes I wonder if people right now realize how ineffective Congress has been in getting really anything done, and they've been lucky because of Trump and tariffs and Signalgate and all this other stuff. The attention has not really been on Congress, and now we see the beginnings of what the reconciliation bill is. Not good. No big ideas. No real big going after spending from what we can tell so far. But what has Congress done? Can anybody look at what Congress has done so far and say that they've been effective in any way, shape, or form in anything? And they've been lucky to, again, kind of slide under the radar because there's so much going on in the executive, with the executive, that people are obviously engaged in all of this stuff, and now tariffs has taken over. Signalgate was before that. No one even remembers that now. That's completely gone. But what Congress, what have they done in the House and the Senate so far in the first almost 100 days? Is it 100 days now? Almost.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they passed this thing to block tariffs. That's it. That's all they did.
All right, live from Studio 6B on a Friday night, Mike Crispi is going to join us. He's the host of a brand new show right here on Real America's Voice. We'll talk to him about that. We'll do sports, news, all coming up on a Friday night live from the America First Warehouse. We're back right after this.
Try to pull him over.
8:30. We're gonna do sports now. Okay.
Yep. Oh yeah. How's everybody doing out there at Facebook? Those are my peeps.
Come on.
What's going on in the chat?
You're hiding behind Rick.
Oh, okay. Thank you, buddy.
Don't hide behind me. Stand out for yourself.
Harry, get off the couch. A lot of people just repeating that. What a great line that was, man.
Oh, that was
Harry.
And we know who he was talking about. Harry is on the couch tonight, by the way.
yes.
Harry might be setting up a casting couch the way that guy rolls.
I think that's a
You mean might be?
everyday event.
What do you mean might be?
Ticked Off Patriot on YouTube. What's going
He's
on?
already sold 5 different casting couches. He broke the molds.
Yeah. He makes the wine
amongst other
look
things.
sleepy.
Hey, Laurie, how are you today?
Exactly.
How's Harry feeling?
Let's go chat. What's going on in chat, baby? Come
We
on.
gotta find the chat. Let's find the chat.
Drag Blacker. Drag Blacker with a $10. All you need now are David, Zira, and Sabrina, and you'll have the complete 6B collector set.
Hello. Hello.
The collector set, Big D. Come
I
on.
like the collector set.
For $10. There you go, Drag Blacker. Got that one in. Thank you very much, Drag Blacker. What else we got?
Ticked off. I know nothing. I know nothing.
I want to know more about this collector set, Slick. What are you donating to that? We have to have something, right?
We'll throw some shoes in for that. For sure.
You got some shoes to donate?
Yeah, I do. Plenty.
All right.
Me.
Okay. I got to see your closet, man.
It is pretty wild.
I got to get to the house to see the closet.
I got to take some pictures.
You have a closet just for the shoes?
I have a nice space for the shoes. A very nice space.
Yeah. The shoes are going co-op.
I actually have to work on something tomorrow with
selling
the closet.
space.
Maybe I'll send you guys a picture in the Grope Me chat.
Who's Lenny Pags? Stephen Clark says.
That guy Stephen Clark is
not the Thank you.
Who is Stephen Clark? He's been on you, Damon, and Lenny Pags, or somebody Pags.
Who's Lenny Pags?
I don't know.
All I know is it sounds like he's got my back over here because I'm not a degenerate gambler.
No. He said Damon's not.
I've been redeemed.
You're not. What the hell happened? I got the wrong information.
Yep.
Nobody goes to GA on a winning streak.
That's for sure. They didn't build those hotels on your winnings.
All right, Friday night, live from Studio 6B, live at the America First Warehouse. Glad you're in. Everybody's here. The whole gang is here. Slick Rick's going to do sports. Vinnie Mac's going to have some thoughts. Paul Nolan's going to have some thoughts. Rick Delgado's going to have news, and Kevin Downey Jr. is going to have news. We got lots to cover.
Whoa.
With the whole gang here. We'll see what's on everybody's mind on a Friday, wrapping up another great week. Want to thank everybody, of course, for giving us a couple hours of your night, 8 to 10 weekdays right here on Real America's Voice and across the airways of 103.9 LI News Radio. Welcome on in, everybody. Let's do some sports. We'll kick it off. A big weekend, final 4 games coming up, and then the national championship, of course, on Monday night. The bracket challenge will come to an end. We'll see the top 10 who plays from the Live from Studio 6B audience. But right now, let's do sports. Slickster's got it. Sports is brought to you by our friend Mike Lindell. MyPillow, LFS6B is the promo code to use. Slickster, what's going on?
Well, speaking of national championships, the women's championship is tonight, Big D. And South Carolina right now up 41-35 over Texas with 9 to go there in the third.
No, that's not the championship. UConn still has to play,
it's
right?
The Final Four.
Yeah.
Well, it's Final Four.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Final
it's called the Women's National Championship. It's the Final Four tonight, Friday night, Texas and South Carolina. Then we have UConn taking on UCLA at 9:30. We got that game on as well. So, yes, indeed. And UConn is a 7.5-point favorite. So we'll see what happens with that. But, yes, we got those games going on tonight, live and in action. To the ice we go, NHL.
So it's called the National Championship game or it's called the Final Four?
It's called the Final Four, but it's the NCAA Women's Championship.
Gotcha.
Hurricane Red Wings 2-1 over the Hurricanes, 12 to go there in the second on the ice. The Blackhawks over the Capitals 2-1, 15 to go there in the second as well. End of one, no score. Wild and Islanders playing where? UBS, U Bailey Score Arena. Well, they're living up to their name there. NBA, we got the Kings 68-49 over the Hornets at the half. The Jazz over the Pacers 59-57 also at the half. Celtics lead the Suns 46-30, 6 to go there in the second in Boston, and Pistons over the Raptors 34-32, 10 to go there in the second as well. Major League Baseball, a couple of games going on right now. Mariners and Giants in a pitcher's duel. 8-8 is the score in the bottom of the 10th. We got the bottom of the 6th. Diamondbacks over the Nationals 4-3. Phillies blanking the Dodgers 1-0 top of the 7th. Middle of the 5th, Braves over the Marlins 3-0. Orioles 2-1 over the Royals bottom 2nd. Mid 1st, no score. Rays and Rangers. Reds and Brewers, no score as well in the bottom of the 1st. Tigers over the White Sox earlier today, 7-4. Red Sox 13-9 over the Cardinals. The Cubs 3-1 over the Padres. Mets blanked the Blue Jays in their home opener at Citi Field today, 5-0. The Athletics over the Rockies 6-3 in 11, and Yankees as well 9-4 winners out in Pittsburgh. They won that game 9-4 today, and Guardians take on the Angels 9:38 first pitch. Well, it's Friday night. You know where we want to go? We want to go to the Rodeo. Go. Here we go. San Angelo Stock Show and Rodeo. Been a little light on the rodeo last couple of weeks, just a couple of here and there. You know, we had the Austin Rodeo and as well as the Houston. Well, now we're in San Angelo Stock and Rodeo, San Angelo, Texas, at the Foster Communications Coliseum. This is a little bit of a smaller rodeo, but just the same. Steer wrestling. We got second round leader Ty, Bridger Anderson, and Danelle Henderson, both coming in at 3.3 seconds each. Team roping second round, another tie, Devin Johnson and Boogie Ray and Aaron Single and Jade Corkill, 3.9 seconds each there. Tie down roping, second round, Tyler Calhoun, 7.5 seconds. Bauer Racing, Abby Fields coming in at 15.7 tenths there. Good time as well. Picked up $10,000 on that one too, big winner. And total payoff on this rodeo, $104,000. So that rodeo just kicked off tonight. We'll keep you updated on that as well. And then, of course, well, President Trump, we know he loves the Lynx, and Bryson DeChambeau praises Trump as great ambassador for golf amid PGA Tour and LIV talks. A lot of talks about merging, and I think President Trump is trying to throw his influence in there. Little art of the deal on the Links here. This is Warner Todd Houston and Breitbart. Two-time U.S. Open champion Bryson DeChambeau praised President Donald Trump as a great ambassador for the game of golf as talks between the PGA and Tour and LIV continue. Appearing on Fox and Friends, DeChambeau said that Trump loves the game, Fox News reported. He loves golf, by the way. I think he's such a great ambassador for the game of golf and for diplomacy in general, DeChambeau lauded. It's been fun to play some golf with him, get to know him a little bit better, and just recognize that he's just a normal person. DeChambeau also spoke of the dinner he had with the president. Man, we were with Kid Rock and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, and we just had a great dinner, DeChambeau said. We didn't talk much about politics. We just enjoyed our time together, and we were honestly really grateful that he's given us the golf course to play on and super excited to be around him. He also praised LIV Golf as well. So apparently they got a little tournament going on, Big D. A couple of big names playing there as well. So they're pretty excited there. Bryson DeChambeau.
Yeah, they're down at the Doral, and the president went down, and of course the media just hammered him on being there. Of course, they're looking for anything they can to hammer him. But, well, Slick, my daughter, texts me, and she says, you got to love You Barely Score Arena.
Yes, that's it.
So she's a big fan of that one.
Bringing that one for a while because they barely score when they're there.
Yeah, there you go.
And that event, by the way, Phil Mickelson, Ian Poulter, Bryson DeChambeau, Brooks Koepka, and John Rahm. So some big names there.
They barely score anywhere.
Yeah. All right, that's good. Thanks, Slick. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell, My Pillow. Let's do some news. Rick Delgado's got it. What's going on, Delgado?
All right. Well, a bunch of things going on. One thing that caught my attention has to be this coming from New York City Mayor. Mayor Eric Adams, fresh off his corruption case being dismissed by a federal judge, he appeared on a podcast. I think it was yesterday or earlier
a red
today.
Hat yet?
Andrew Schultz.
Yes, and said he believes the deep state is real.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds like somebody's.
He's seen the light.
I sent that clip in if you don't have
somebody's eyes are open. Here he is, cut number 6. Here's Mayor Adams explaining the deep state, and again, pitching. He's like the Amazon of mayors.
Is he wearing a Trump was right about everything hat?
Not yet,
Okay.
but he's pitching the Kash Patel book again. Check this out.
He's red.
Cut number 6. Here's Mayor Adams.
Or do you know who you think it came from? Like, is Biden aware of this, or is it the people that are like underneath Biden? Is it completely separate?
That's a great question. That's a great question. You know, there are a lot of people, you know, this, you know, and I don't want to sound conspiracy theory, but there's a permanent government. There are people that see presidents and mayors come and go. Their attitudes will wait you out. You know what book is a great book, man? Everybody should read the book, Kash Patel's Government Gangsters.
Okay.
You should
him on the pod.
You should read that book, man.
Okay.
Cash breaks this down.
What is he? And is this what
he's
somebody,
now the FBI director?
Of course. We love Cash.
Yeah.
But is this like what people refer to? And I think this word has been used too much, but like the deep state or whatever it is.
It's not used too much. It's real, brother.
Oh, really?
Brother, think about it.
Who's part of it? Like, what are there current like senators and that kind of stuff, or is it people that we don't even know but they're always existing?
You know, I have never seen anyone do such a good job of defining that deep state. You should have him on.
I would. Tell him to come on.
I was trying to be his booking agent.
getting
We would love
royalties?
The way
He's probably listening right now, right?
Can't articulate it. It's goofball.
Adams now counts himself as a believer, David, crediting FBI director, as you could tell, Kash Patel's 2023 book. On the subject as the thing that has swayed him. Kash was in the Department of Defense, he said. He's in the FBI. He prosecuted terrorists. He said on the Flagrant podcast hosted by Andrew Schultz. So he comes with a wealth of knowledge and the way he breaks it down.
Yeah.
And that sounds like a man who is he's very happy to be
he's all in
walking
with the
around
Trump
free.
gang. He needs Trump protecting him the rest of the way.
Yeah, he's going to write the foreword to
And he
Cash's
says-
next book, I think.
He says he's going to run as an independent now.
Oh, yeah, sure he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck.
he's-
Good
he's-
luck.
And then in 4 more years, he'll run as a Republican.
You know what, though, is not a bad idea for him to run as an independent now as opposed to try and do it as a Democrat, lose as a Democrat, and then try to recoup what you just lost. At least now he's out before the primary.
Yeah.
So now he can start to make inroads, possibly on those Democratic voters that maybe would still vote for him.
And Cuomo was going to do a good job and fighting him for that nomination.
Right.
He was going to have.
Well, he's got a 20-point lead, I think.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so there's that.
I mean, that's amazing.
There's that.
Sausage.
Amazing that he's going to win. Eat the sausage and kill the elderly, and he's
Right.
going to win.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's unbelievable. He's going to win in a landslide.
Just crazy.
Disgusting.
All right, Friday night at the America First Warehouse. You can play the music, Fran, if you can. Mike Crispi is going to join us when we get back. Live from Studio 6B. We're back right after this.
Honest with you, I'd wear that outfit. I think I can pull that off. No, I meant I could pull it off you right now.
Not that he'd wear it. He can just pull it
Right,
off. you.
just pull it off.
Yeah.
I don't
It's
know.
got
I love
one
it.
ears.
It's got Velcro on it.
Good to see you, Mike.
How am I going to top?
You're not. Just give it
Yeah.
up. Don't try.
I'm done.
You know what, Slick? Give him your jacket. So
If you're going to sit there, you got to wear those shoes. All
I'll
right?
wear the jacket.
It's quite, a package that he puts together.
I
there.
mean, the shoes really. I mean, the camera doesn't see that, or hopefully it does.
They do at the end of the show. He puts them up.
Make sure that table's as low as it can go, since there's a handle on the right. You squeeze it like over here, over on the right.
Right there.
Yeah, right there. Squeeze it and push it down. Is it down all the way? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, this will roll in too if you want it. Be easier.
I'm
Paul, by the way.
I didn't know. Hey, Paul. Mike Crispi. Yeah.
Crispy, stay still. Crispy, stay still.
Tough.
Hospital tables.
Say ah.
Coming out in 15 minutes.
check underneath your chair. There's a bedpan for you too. He spares no expense. Joe Tobias.
Yeah, that's right.
Everybody.
Joey, are those brand new chairs over there? Those
doesn't-
white ones?
He doesn't spare a thought.
Those things
doesn't
are
spare an
fancy.
expense.
Things are stepping up here. Come on.
That
got our-
thing's cool and new too.
What's that?
The beautiful picturesque city.
Oh, yeah. A little West Side Story thing going on there?
Nice.
Yeah. We don't spare any expense. We just go.
This place really needs waitresses and booze.
It's coming. He said next Friday's episode. I was talking to him, right? The band.
Doge cut them out this week.
Doge showed up, and there it goes. There it goes.
Did anyone got the clip of the Doge pro-Doge rallies in front of the Tesla dealers?
The pro-Doge rally.
Yeah, it's pretty
we had
cool.
one of those in Jersey.
I think Joe was at that one.
Yeah,
Oh, you were there?
I was there.
Nice. We have any video clips for that? Because that was cool.
Yeah, we got it.
How many people would you guess were there?
I would say there was about 100, 150, 125 people for us, and they had about 30.
Nice.
So good people are coming out like that.
I found footage of me when I did a rally on Hempstead Turnpike during COVID, and News 12 was trying to they put the craziest guy out and put him across the street in an empty parking lot. I ran across with my America's West House camera. I'm like, I'm watching.
All right, 30 minutes past the hour, live from Studio 6B, Real America's Voice on a Friday night, live at the America First Warehouse. Welcome on in, everybody. Lots to do still on a Friday. Vinnie Mac's going to have some news. Paul Nolan's going to have news. Kate DJ is going to have some thoughts. Delgado will have more. Of course, Slick will do some more sports. But right now, please welcome to the set. We're excited to have him here, the host of the brand new show on Real America's Voice. Debuts, I believe, tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Last call with Mike Crispi. Please welcome Mike Crispi to the show. Mike, how are you?
All right, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Great to be at the America First Warehouse, and great to be on air, a show that I've watched many a Friday night. So I made it to the big stage.
How do you describe this place as someone who hasn't seen it?
Well planned.
Yeah.
It's very well planned. If you love Trump and you love a nice, tasteful, well-planned venue, this place has everything you could ever want as a Trump supporter, not missing anything.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah. So last call debuts tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Tell us about the show and what you're trying to accomplish and what made you want to do it.
Yeah, well, I've been broadcasting ever since 2021. Started out going to Trump rallies and broadcasting for another network. And I've been hooked on the Trump movement since 2015. I went to my first rally in October 2015. I got there at 4 o'clock in the morning. I was in the first row. I really wasn't even involved in politics. And ever since that moment that I went to the rally, I went, I got to be a part of this, right? I got to be a part of this. I got to do my part, to make my influence, to get people to see the light. So started broadcasting. One thing led to another, podcasting. And now, after 2024, we did a lot of work for President Trump in New Jersey. I was, one of his main surrogates in the state of New Jersey, spoke at the big rally, Wildwood. We made an 11-point gain in New Jersey, made a lot of history. Now it's like, all right, how do we take control of the narrative in this golden age we're in right now, right? And I think that on the weekends, we need to have a little fun, and we need to have a little late night fun conservative talk on the weekends to enjoy the golden age at the expense of the libs. Have a nice show that's highly entertaining, informative, and having a good time, but also giving people like that late night feel going through it to cap off the week. So really excited to be a part of Real America's Voice. Been watching Real America's Voice since the beginning, and it's amazing what it's become, and I think it's only going to get bigger now that the spotlight is on Trump for these next 4 years in a way that I think is going to be bigger and better than ever before.
Yeah. We're speaking with Mike Crispi. He's the host of Last Call. It debuts tomorrow night, 8 p.m. right here on Real America's Voice. Make sure you tune in. You mentioned New Jersey and the gains we made in New Jersey. What do politics in New Jersey look like right now? Is that gain something that you think is going to continue? Do people want I saw something, I don't know if it was an April Fool's joke or not, but there's still a majority of the state wants Governor Murphy back for another term. Like, what is the state of politics in New Jersey?
Well, thank God he's term limited out, so he'll go on to go have a cushy landing somewhere else. But then another Democrat will try to ruin our state, right? That's like kind of how it works. But when it was coming up, election year, I said, I don't know, something about the feeling in New Jersey, like we kind of have this momentum. And I was out there, doing events as a surrogate with the campaign. And we did 32 events in every single area, even in like Newark. Okay, we went to like the slums, and no matter where we went, what we did, doing like voter outreach and petition signatures for Trump to get on the ballot, we get like 300-400 people, whether we were in like the most rural place or we were in like the city. Okay, I'm talking like near Philadelphia or Newark or whatever. We were having massive crowds, and I said something's going on here. So New Jersey, I think, is the new swing state. You go from losing it by 16, almost 17 points in 2016 and 2020, and then in 2024, with Trump's message, it cuts down to 5. I mean, that's kind of an unbelievable gain. And I think that with New Jersey, South Jersey is super red, okay? It's like almost a different place. There are people down there. And then Central Jersey and North Jersey is kind of like purple. And then you have the urban areas, which are obviously near the major cities, and they're blue. Trump's making big gains in these urban areas. Okay, he picks off 5, 6, 7, 8 points. That's a lot of voters. The voters that are purple in North and Central, they go, I don't want illegal immigrants. I don't want my kids going to class and the teacher has to speak 3 different languages and got to translate all the worksheets. They're not going to learn anything. And then in South Jersey, they say this is our last stand here. They're trying to take away our rights fundamentally and change the country. So they're coming out more. So I think New Jersey in 2028, I think Trump got it started. I think next presidential election, I think we put the dagger in them and we take New Jersey, flip it red.
Do you buy into when we just saw 2 special elections in Florida, we saw what happened in Wisconsin. One of the big complaints coming out of that night was that Republicans and low propensity voters, when Trump's name is not on the ballot, and as much as we hear him talk about another term, we suspect come 2028 his name is not on the ballot. Do you think that's an issue for the Republican Party?
It's really interesting because in that special election in both Wisconsin and in Florida, like I look at 2 of the races particularly, the Supreme Court race that happened in Wisconsin, I think they spent almost $100 million, which is like, guys, $100 million for a Supreme Court race. That's like crazy. And then even in Florida 6, okay, which is a Republican plus 30 seat, that's where Randy Fine just won. Super Republican seat, Mike Waltz had it. The Democrats still spent over $10 million in a congressional special election. That's a ton of money. That's like one of the highest spends in a congressional election, like I think ever, to begin with. They don't spend that kind of money. So that shows us that the Democrats, we're saying we're laughing at them, we're having a good time, but they're not going to go away quietly into the night. They got all of this money through the Act Blue consortium of fraud, okay, where they launder all sorts of money. They got billions of dollars at their disposal, and I think they're going to try to spend their way out of it. And your point about Trump not being on the ballot, I do think that's something that Republicans got to get better on. He's not on the ballot, but you still got to come out. And I think that in 2028, Trump is doing the 3rd term, we'll see. But if he's not doing the 3rd term and we got somebody else up there, they're going to need to solve for that. They're going to need to get those low propensity voters out because, quite frankly, that's something real where they're going to try to make up for the non-Trump factor with the money. And I think that what happened should be like a warning that, we still won Florida, but we got to be more careful. Otherwise, they'll try to take one on us.
Yeah. We're speaking with Mike Crispi. He's the host of Last Call with Mike Crispi. Debuts tomorrow night on Real America's Voice, 8 p.m. So make sure you lock it in and stay tuned for that. I don't know what you're going to talk about on the show. You can give us maybe give us a little preview of what you're going to talk about on Saturday night. But if you had to do a segment on the GOP right now, Congress and the Senate, what would you talk about in that segment?
Well, if I was doing a segment on Congress right now, I would say, can we please pass Trump's agenda? Can we please pass it? Right now they had this whole thing where they were arguing about the proxy voting things for the pregnant mothers. And then Johnson said, okay, we got to shut it down. And now we can't do any more things this week. And I don't want to get into the minutia of congressional procedure, but he could have kept it going. He didn't have to just suspend things for a whole week. So, I think you got to get Trump's agenda going. He's been doing a lot of things by executive order, which is great. I love he's, exercising and levying all the powers. There was an article today that said that, Trump doesn't give a blank anymore and is just doing exactly what he wants to do.
Yeah, you brought that up before, right?
Yeah,
so it's like, I love that. But now Congress needs to act like that. They need to act like that.
They're spineless.
We got a 6-seat majority, and everyone's like, well, it's close. It shouldn't be close. He should be winning by 6 votes every single time. Because if you're a Republican and you're not on board with President Trump's agenda at this point, you're either like sinister or you're just really stupid at this point. I think it's the former. I think they're bought off, they're weak, they're controlled by their paymasters and the lobbyists and the special interests. And they're saying to them, the lobbyists and the special interests, just wait out the storm, kind of drag your feet, this Trump thing, couple more years. But it's going to be on us to put the pressure on them for Congress to actually enact and pass the agenda. They're kind of being slow right now.
She could be your first guest. So I'm wondering if you make that happen. Here's something we've been talking about a lot on the show. So your points on Congress, I totally get, and they're spot on because it's so frustrating. Supreme Court, they are in the background now of a major constitutional crisis with all these federal courts and others blocking Trump's agenda. There's one thing to say Congress should act. They're not. Right? You just articulated many of the reasons why. Here's the Supreme Court sitting there in the background just allowing all this to happen. What do you think about that?
Oh, man. So the activist judges, this happens This actually happens at the state level and at the federal level, where you're coming up with this thing. It's all they have left, right? So they try the lawfare. They try to kill them. They try the January 6th hoax. They try the Very Fine People hoax. They try the Rush collusion hoax. Now the last thing they got are activist judges, okay? Right, Obama appointed, in many cases, not even born in the country, like this woman Chutkin, or like who's finding herself into all these cases, not even from the country. And these people are activists first and judges second. So all they're doing is, when they get together in their own time, they're saying, we're going to rule on things that have absolutely zero jurisdiction in our purview. And they know they're going to lose, but it just slows it down. Because then it needs to go to appeal, then it needs to go to another level, and then the judge made a ruling, so they got to stop for a couple weeks. So I think, again, it's kind of like what Congress is doing. They're just trying to like roll out the clock, and the activist judges are just trying to, stonewall something for a month or 2 months or 3 months, and then Trump inevitably wins, like an appeal and all that. But they're getting what they wanted done, and that was to slow it down for a couple months. It is such a big problem. I think whether it's the Supreme Court or something needs to happen about it, because it's just showing that if you're a leftist and you're a judge, you're supposed to be beyond reproach no matter what party you are. They don't care, and that's a really scary thing.
And it's all the money that gets funneled to them as well. I mean, we got to hope that DOJ, somewhere along the way, will find the money source that gets these judges so much momentum and into their positions of power. So the activist judges are killing us. There's no question about it.
How are the judges so rich? I mean, how are any of these members of Congress so rich?
It's outrageous.
And that's how it works. That's the communism right there. You have two levels of communists, folks. You've got your street urchins, the vegans and whatnot, the gluten-free, I'm going to poop on your Tesla. And then you've got the higher-up communists who are making bank. That's how you get them. That's how you keep them. Bank. You're with us or you're broke. And that's same thing in Poland. I used to be really close to a Polish family, and they explained to me their family was torn apart because there were two judges married, and they were communists, and they had all the money, they had everything they wanted. But if you hated communism, well, maybe you got toilet paper that day, maybe you didn't. Stalin wasn't sure.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, Mike, going back to New Jersey, what are your chances? Because you're talking about making it, flipping the state, and that was a big thing we were talking about during the campaign, was that Trump needed to do these things, go into the South Bronx, go into these places that Republicans never visited, and get those numbers up. Do you see that continuing? Are you seeing that happening throughout the state? You mentioned, South Jersey. You've even had politicians flip parties down there, right?
Well, it's interesting, and yes, and that was Jeff Van Drew who flipped. Trump had a rally. His biggest rally. You guys know where his biggest rally was all 2024 election?
On the beach in New Jersey.
It was on the beach in New Jersey, Wildwood, New Jersey. So I spoke at that rally, and I was backstage, and I was talking to Trump, and he said to me, Mike, this is crazy. This crowd is unbelievable. How many people do you think are out there? And I said, well, Mr. President, they said like 80,000 people are here, but people keep coming in. He's like, 100,000. And then he got out there and he said, there's 107,000. And I said, let's go. So now it's forever known as the biggest political rally, not only in New Jersey history, but in all of the 2024 election. I think it shows the fact that we did the biggest rally ever in New Jersey. I think it shows the hunger of people where they're like, hey, we got a conservative who's giving us attention, giving us play. They don't come here. They got their consultants who are looking at the map, and they're saying, spend your time in, this county in Wisconsin and this place in Nevada. But if you spend a little time and give a little love to like New Jersey, you can flip it. And I'm telling you, Trump, I know it. I know it personally. He wanted to come back for another one. And he said, if I come back for another one, we'll win.
We get 200.
He had to go deal with like 8 different swing states. He would have won Jersey if he would have came back another time.
All right, let's hit the break. We're speaking with Mike Crispi. He's the host of Last Call. Mike Crispi debuts tomorrow night, 8 p.m. right here on Real America's Voice. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll do a little more with Mike on Live from Studio 6B right after this.
We got to get a camera that shows this place when the time is right, because this is so fantastic, this place.
Yeah, like
on the outro, we almost got to just show the whole.
You have like a live audience here, right? You get like a live audience.
Yeah.
He says he's gonna have the band, right, Joe? You're gonna have the band over there.
Yeah, we're gonna have live music over there. Yeah. We'll be like over here.
Joe, how many people are you allowed here?
Friday night feels super cool.
Why do I get the feeling you're in the
depends.
Trump?
It depends. Who's counting?
Who? Had
What are you
500?
doing the show out of? Do you have studio?
Why do I get the feeling you have no F's to give either?
I have a studio in Long Island, like 20 minutes from here.
You have no F's
So
to give
I
either.
Come into that
I can tell.
or depending on the traffic, I do it from the studio that I have in my house, and I satellite into my producer, who, we got the main setup in Deer Park, not very far away.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so easy.
Okay, so let's, you want to do, we'll go to you, and then Mike can jump in if he wants to. We'll do a
Sure.
regular segment here.
Sure.
Thanks for the plug, guys. Appreciate it.
No
yeah.
problem.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, good segment, man. Good job.
Thank you.
That was great.
We got to flip New Jersey, man.
I-
we got to flip all these
Hey,
places.
that was politic porn.
yeah.
Flip Jersey's like, what?
Flip
Tell
Jersey.
me more. It's like, read me a story.
And he spent no money why would you? But he spent no money, and if he would have spent a couple $1,000,000 on campaigning there, he would have won it. It's great.
I can't believe he didn't do more inner city stuff because so many inner city people are just so disgusted that all the benefits are leaving their community for illegal immigrants, and I think he could have really capitalized on that more. But
I think it's he got so much time because the campaign, day,
And he
day,
was
day.
relentless,
So it's
though.
you got to go to this place in Wisconsin, this place in Nevada, and this place in Arizona. It's if he had another week, maybe he would have.
He hustled. That was part of the whole
hustled.
thing.
Oh,
He
yeah,
just
he
went
didn't stop.
everywhere. Did it. He was incredibly visible.
I think that Pelosi clip from 90 whatever it was 30 years ago. She was 96, I believe. It was just a fascinating clip on her views on tariffs.
Oh yeah, really?
It's fantastic.
Yeah, we played Chuck Schumer's last night.
I sent that in again. I was hoping you guys didn't play it because that was great too. But the Pelosi clip is incredible.
What was it in the 90s?
Yeah, I think it was 95 or 96.
That was before she got super rich.
Yeah, and before the dentures.
Before the dentures.
That's not nice.
Before her husband got caught with the.
All right, live from Studio 6B, 13 to the hour on a Friday night at the America First Warehouse. We are live. Welcome on in, everybody. Slick's going to do some more sports in the next hour. Delgado's going to do some more news. We'll get to Kevin Downey Jr. and Paul Nolan as well. But right now, Vinnie Mac is here and Mike Crispi is here. He's the host of Last Call with Mike Crispi, and it debuts tomorrow night on Real America's Voice, 8 p.m. You're used to watching Real America's Voice at 8 p.m. Another great one at 8 p.m. Make sure you tune in tomorrow night and every Saturday going forward. We'll speak to Mike a little more, but he's going to hang with us here while Vinnie Mac does a little news. Vinnie Mac, what's on your mind?
Oh, man, so much. I'm so glad Mike's here because I want to talk about something that I want to really hear what your thoughts are in this because it's just a lot to peel back. So we've gone through what the left does. They have used the deep state, to take Trump down and to take their opponents down. They've used judges quite effectively. They have biased judges in there, liberal judges taking things down. They've used so many things going on. And I'm watching all this Tesla stuff going on. After all the years where we watched George Floyd, the protests, right? And then Antifa, Black Lives Matter, the protests against Supreme Court justices.
You talk about the summer of love?
And now the summer of love, yes, the peaceful protesters. But my point is, here's all these Tesla things going on all over the country. And we know all the ones I just mentioned were orchestrated, paid for protests. And it's part of the program. At the same time, I'm watching what's going on with Doge, where they're peeling back this process of where the corruption really is. They're saving money and all that. And we talked about this the other night in the show, that now they're finding the circle of how money's being sort of laundered back, even to these judges possibly, right, and to politicians. And I look at all that and I'm like, we need a Doge-type effort to really start peeling back these efforts of these protests. Because what happens with these protests is most of us know it's a bunch of malarkey. It's not really what's going on. These are a bunch of people that are paid. Their signs are printed. Their orchestration is there. However, the media covers this as if Americans woke up one morning and said, I don't like this, or I hate Tesla, or I hate all of these things, and they're completely orchestrated. You have been in the streets, with this Trump campaign. You've been out those protests that were there at his events and so on, it's the same thing. What's your view on that?
So actually last weekend I went to the Tesla, our counter protest. So we organized our group along with Early Vote Action, Scott Pressler's group. We organized like a combined rally, which was the counter rally to the Tesla rally. So we had like 300 people came out, and their crowd was supposed to get there earlier. We got there before them. They were like late. You could tell they were paid, punching in. They all get there lethargically. They all got their pre-made signs. We got their spot right in front of the dealer. They had to set up down the street, and they were all kind of stressed out because they didn't know if they were going to get their protest paycheck. So they're down the street, and they all got certain costumes, certain type of signs, super vulgar. But it just is so it's very, I don't say low energy, but it's it's very rehearsed. F Elon Musk, and they're doing it, and then the reporter comes over and they take some stuff, the reporter goes away, and they kind of stop. So I think most of the ones who are getting paid are getting very lazy with it, but you have some that are just really angry and depraved and mental, and those are the ones who try to light Teslas on fire and throw bricks through it. And it was the Congresswoman Jayapal, I'm talking about. This woman is talking about readying yourselves for battle in the street. So Maxine Waters was saying a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
They're saying it again. Whenever we're just winning on policy, they just get really angry and violent. These people are so sick.
When you said it was low energy, I was thinking, wow, I guess that means they didn't have a dance number prepared for.
I saw a dance number just today. They were showing them doing orchestrated dancing. But really, the point I'm trying to get to is that we all know it's orchestrated.
Yeah.
We know they're paid. We know all of these things, and yet we still pay attention to it. And it makes no sense to do that. And my biggest fear, just in general, in trying to get the MAGA agenda done and all this, these false sort of narratives that get out and people start believing them. If you have as many liberal friends as I do, I got a lot of liberal friends. I hear this stuff on a regular basis. If they came into this place, their head would explode if they went into this place.
You're a patient good guy. I don't know.
I am
no,
patient.
No, he's not from what I heard. Damon says he walks right up to people, starts yelling at them.
He owes patience. He has less than zero patience.
Yeah. I go at it because I just cannot stand, the narrative. But what I find is so many of them have similar commentary, which is, well, how can all these people be protesting in the streets if the country's really in support of Trump? And I'm like, these are actors.
It's only in this world that we're in right now with this, fake news media vacuum can people be protesting about cutting the government by $1 trillion and then giving the money back to them in the form of a tax break, or Elon was calling it a Doge rebate. Only in this system would they say, hey, you're getting ripped off. You're paying 40% of your income. A lot of it's going to BS and a black hole. I just want to cut that and give it back to you. You're not going to get a service cut. Everyone's going to be all right. And they go, no, fascist, Hitler. I'm
right.
Only in this world that we're in right now.
Well, that's communism for you.
Yeah. And you know what? You mentioned Representative Jayapal, whatever her name is.
Yeah.
She's working with, this comes from my friend Victoria Taft at pjmedia.com. She's working with a professor from Harvard, Erica Chenoweth. They're actually organizing these people. And they're printing out the chants.
Yeah,
they're printing out. Here's your part. Yeah. And you're right. They're dancing like lunatics. I saw that. They obviously had to rehearse that crap.
But we've got to out them. We need to figure out a process. You have a show. We have a show. There's lots of us out there in the media. We know this is going on. We have to infiltrate that like Doge is infiltrating the system of corruption. There's this whole system of this is corruption because the media is playing it like it's real. To your point, we know they're doing the step dance in some hall trying to figure out how to do that when they're out in the streets. It's baloney.
Right.
Yeah, they're getting a video emailed to them. Okay, remember, because the dance numbers are not very orchestrated. I mean,
well, it's the electric
not
slide.
Exactly, yeah. But they're not exactly
talented. Not the most talented athletic people.
Yeah. I know. Let's dance Elon out of the country.
Sprockets.
Dieter and Sprocket.
And you see Whoopi Goldberg, whose real name is Karen Johnson. See, really is.
Are you doxing her?
I am. She on that show no one watches. She said, well, "The resistance is real. You get out there, you are not alone."
That's my point.
Where's
Right.
Whoopi? Is Whoopi out there? I've never seen Whoopi. I mean,
Whoopi's-
she can't miss her. So like, I haven't seen Whoopi out.
You can
in
see
this
her from
street.
space.
It's always ones that are like the puffiest and the doughiest and like the weakest who like talk the biggest game. Like, we're gonna rough them up in the streets. Gonna rough us up in the streets. I mean, but I think it goes back to your point. I think it does go back to like we gotta like out the source.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I really hope that after these 4 years, like one thing that Pam Bondi roots out is this Act Blue scam. I mean, I mentioned it before,
Total
but it's like
scam.
the Democrats have this thing where like they route all their money, they routes through Act Blue, and no one can tell where it comes
or
from.
Ties Foundation.
They take it, they like divvied up. They said like one old lady gives like 6,000 donations of $50, and but like where is the source of that? I hope that Pam Bondi gets to the bottom of that in the 4 years.
Well,
if they do that,
actually-
we'll be in good shape.
Actually, we played a clip yesterday of Elon saying they know who the generals are. They know the people who are paying them, who are organizing them, and they're going to go after them. So
How do you guys feel
hopefully
about
we'll
this
see this
new
sooner,
rule where you're going to have
sooner
to
than
take
later.
your mask off when you're protesting? I mean, I would like to see the faces of these people who are paid provocateurs. These agent provocateurs have clearly paid, and they're all covering their faces. Like, I'd like to see us start doxing some of those people that we saw, at the January 6th scam, as you have called it. We've seen people coming off of buses, getting into their MAGA gear, saying they feel dirty, dressed up. They're Antifa paid agents, and no one follows these people anywhere.
Here's my final point on that. I'll be quick.
Be very quick.
Is First Amendment. This is not the First Amendment.
Okay, good.
They think it's the First Amendment.
All right.
Wait, I'm exercising my First Amendment rights here.
We've been speaking with Mike Crispi. He's going to be he's the host of Last Call. Mike Crispi at debuts tomorrow night. Best of luck with the show, and thanks for joining us tonight.
Hey, what an honor. This place is great. You guys are great. Let's go. Rav to the moon.
All right, hour 2 coming up. Again, Last Call. Mike Crispi debuts tomorrow night, 8 p.m. right here on Real America's Voice. Check it out. All right, we're back. Hour 2 live from the America First Warehouse right after this.
Was he leave at 3 in the morning? Outstanding.
I don't think that Cross
That was
Bronx
fun.
Expressway always has traffic.
Yeah.
Every day, every hour.
This looks like I'm going to bounce for a second.
Hey, Joe. Do you have a ginger ale over there?
Oh, boy. Yeah, he's great. He's great. He's going to have a great show.
Yeah. 8 o'clock tomorrow night.
Great energy.
Yeah, he's still here. Keep saying it.
He could. Is he still here?
Yeah, he's still
Oh, okay. Hang on.
I did not know that.
Oh, man.
I did not know that.
I did not know that. That is weird.
Well, you know it now.
That is weird.
That is almost like speaking in the third person.
Yeah. Sis boom ba. Sis boom ba.
Oh, my YouTube chat was having a field day.
Were they? What was going on?
They were wondering where I was.
Where'd you go?
It was pretty funny.
We located you.
They were having a field day. Oh, good stuff. Marilyn Schwab, I'm right here.
Okay, DJ, I'll come to you. Sir.
Janet Guerrera, I'm out of timeout. Yes. they were having a time. They were having a
Slick
field
out
day.
of timeout.
They were having a field day.
Sorry, man. You got to sit over there for
That
for
was
a while.
great. That was
Timeout.
great. Oh, good. Oh, good. Good guest.
Yeah, I'm trying to catch up here on the chats. We got people from California out there too. Whittier, which is a bit blue there, Julian. I'm loving that you're watching.
California was always our number 1 viewing area of this show,
Yeah.
if you remember back in the 15, 16,
Yeah.
17, 18, 19 days.
Yeah.
Goes to show you, man. That state, it's sort of like Jersey, where they just got those small pockets of
They're desperate for-
overwhelming
they're
votes.
desperate for
Aaron, you're very
conservative
hard
talk.
to hear tonight, just so you know. At least to me. Yeah, it's very low. I mean, I can hear it, but it's just very low.
Tracy Morgan.
Say it again? Like, if it's quiet, I can hear you fine.
Right, if nobody else talks.
Yeah.
You got to yell.
We hear you beautifully.
I can hear you better now.
Let me know when Aaron starts talking.
She breaks in and out, though.
Aaron? Hello?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. But the volume's still the same.
Aaron?
Now it's out.
All right, live from Studio 6B on a
What is that?
on a Friday night. Just let me know if they come back because I'm not going to listen to that all night.
There they go. It's back.
We got.
It's back.
I was gonna say we got mice in our ears.
Hang on, it's Joe Biden. Joe? Joe, are you there?
Hour two on a Friday. Hour two on a Friday night. Live from Studio 6B. The gang's all here. Vinnie Mac's here.
How you
Slick
doing?
Rick's back. Going to do some sports. Paul Nolan, Kevin Downey Jr., Rick Delgado. Mike Crispi just joined us for the last two segments. He was the host of Last Call with Mike Crispi, which is going to debut tomorrow night. I want to thank him for coming out to the America First Warehouse and joining us. Make sure you tune into his show. It's going to, obviously, if you can see, it's going to be great. Lots to do here in hour two. We'll try to get to everybody as many times as we can, but we'll start hour two by getting to the host of the Kevin Downey Jr. Show, heard 9 to 11 weekday mornings on 103.9 LI News Radio here in Long Island, New York, and that is Kevin Downey Jr. Mr. Downey Jr., what's going on?
Thank you, Big D. I want to say something to everyone who's probably arguing with their blue-haired, salad-dodging tundra Wookiee of a sister-in-law who thinks that because the stock market had a bad couple of days that they're going to starve. I did some digging, and I found a 7-month, 7,000-point slide from like January 1st. It actually started a little in December. Let's say January 1st into September of 2022. And no one panicked. No one said a word. And I have a friend, he's as liberal as the day is long. He's 68. He's screaming on Facebook, I'm selling everything I have, even though 4 of my stock friends said, don't do it. This will bounce back almost immediately. So if nothing else, the good news is these liberals don't really reproduce a lot because they abort all their kids, and then then the ones that do survive, they cut off their wieners, and so and now they're going to starve to death.
Friday night.
I'm pretty happy about that.
Now, that's controversial.
They are, you know what? When I see them lighting Tesla dealerships on fire, I had way more fun when they were lighting themselves on fire and yelling, "Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine!" You're going to light something on fire, libs. There's where you want to go. But a 7-month, $7,000 slide, 7,000-point slide in 2022 that no one really cared about. And they've got this one. I want to bring this up. This is a good one. Some students lost their apartment. They lost their apartment because one of them hung up a Trump flag. And one day the landlord comes in to fix the sink. And now that their lease is up, they got a note. We got a note that said, unfortunately, we have decided not to renew your lease. While fixing your lock, there's a lock. Over the holiday break, we noticed a Trump flag on the wall. Respectfully, we're being more selective in choosing tenants that better align with our values and those of most of the other tenants. And the guy said, he was getting kicked out, he said, I had to fill out a questionnaire before we moved in, which I thought was odd. It included questions such as, how old is the Earth? Is the Earth flat or round? And what are your beliefs about stopping airborne viruses? My God, you know what? I hate to see anyone kicked out of their home, but how did you not see this coming? Okay. Is the Earth flat? How do you feel about airborne viruses? You knew right away they were Fauci lovers, and that wasn't going to work out. We got another one here. Look at this. Kathy Hochul said today that they passed a couple more laws for guns. They passed some gun laws, and she's saying crime is down 40% and blah, blah, blah. In the state, well, yeah, in the state, crime may be down. Because, when you get upstate, they don't really shoot each other. They do that in the city. They do that in Albany. They do that in New York's, big and little toilet towns. That's where they do it. Don't go to Syracuse. You'll be shot in Utica. But the outlying place, everyone's fine. But those people are the ones who are paying. She says when someone is stockpiling bullets, we know about it. Because I don't know if you guys know this. If you buy ammo, you have to get a background check. And she just let it go right there. Not only do you have to get a background check, they're keeping track of how many rounds you buy. I am the mass shooting guy over at PJ Media, and with the exception of Vegas and maybe one or two others, no one has really ever fired more, even near 100 rounds. So this is just, they want to know who's packing what and how much ammo they've got.
This guy in the rental thing, that's classic discrimination.
Yeah, what if they had a BLM sign? Could you kick him out?
Yeah, they would have squatted already, so.
It is. It's classic discrimination.
Yeah.
Like that is outrageous that it happened, but that legally, that is discrimination.
It's the textbook definition. It's like saying, well, you're black. You can't come here.
Yeah.
You can't live here.
Yeah. Oh.
They don't care. They don't care.
No.
They don't care. I mean, if I was that kid I would just say, well, good luck getting me out.
You know what I think needs to start happening here? Lawsuits need to start happening. We need to start suing a lot of people over this type of discrimination. I know it's happening every day. The example you just made, that's not a one-off.
No.
In a lot of areas, it's not a one-off. I mean, you see people getting hired or maybe not fired, but not hired for that reason. I mean, this is an HR 101 problem. We got to start suing people and straightening this out.
But you notice it only goes one way.
Always.
That's
right?
That's
it
why I'm
only
saying
goes one way.
True story.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I've seen, because or else the deep state media would have it all over the place. Oh my goodness, this MAGA landlord kicked out these people because they supported drunk Harris, right?
Oh yeah, it'd be in every single news cycle. It'd be spun and pushed and pressed.
it would be the top of the news every single hour on the hour for at least 5 days. Because that's the way they play the game.
I just went through a situation. I was going to be paid to be a speaker at a college. I gave my speech. They asked me some questions.
How much did you have to pay them?
And I paid them $1,000. It was excellent. But at the end of it, I heard all these woke questions, and everyone was very woke at this place. And I'm thinking to myself, they're not going to hire me, have me come back. Because they're going to Google and find Live from Studio 6B and see some of these things that I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
And that's discrimination. That's not asking a guy to talk about the subject matter that I'm an expert in, because I'm probably one of the top experts in this area that they asked. That's clear-cut discrimination. I was just thinking about that. I'm like, I'm going to sue their ass. I'm going to hire Rick Delgado.
Okay, good.
With all that Allstate money that you got
that's
back.
right. That's right.
I've never heard of a college hiring about hair pieces.
Yeah, well, I have a lot of experience with that.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
All right, KDJ, we'll do some more news with him in a second. Paul Nolan's here as well. Mr. Nolan, what caught your attention in the news?
Well, I was going to bring it up, but, we're talking about, like, the news cycle. Austin Metcalf, the kid gets killed, which I'm sure you guys have covered that earlier in the week. But, again, that would be all over the news cycle if situation was reversed.
Yeah.
I mean, this kid gets plunged. I mean, we're talking about a kid who the whole world is is at his hands. And it's, to me, that's the stuff that's killing me, how the news cycle dominates and how it still has the ability to pervade the masses, and how it has the ability to socially engineer what we think and how we react. Because the truth of the matter is, if the entire 90% of these major news outlets, these corporations, were pumping out MAGA news, there would be no stopping it. It would be
that fills in, though, totally with the protests. It fills in with a story like this, where a white kid gets stabbed by a black kid. The opposite would have been different. That's the narrative we got to unwind and get to the bottom of.
And even like other things. Do you want to?
Oh, I was just going to say. I noticed. I caught on this back in the late '90s. I was living in Manhattan, and there was the West Side rapist has struck again. This is the 10th victim, and women are warned to be on the lookout. He's 5'10" with a slim build. No race, nothing else. Of course not.
That's it.
Throwing women under the bus. And I was like, well, that's a little weird. And then we saw, after 9/11, as I'm lying in my Brooklyn bedroom where I was living at the time, and I could smell the burning bodies of fellow New Yorkers, George Bush is on TV telling me that Islam is the religion of peace. And I was like, they're really not holding anyone responsible for anything unless they are white and white Westerners. Really? Now we know why, because we see this rape epidemic that's been going on for almost 2 decades in England. and you can't talk about it. And not only can you not talk about it, the cops didn't arrest anyone because they were afraid they'd be considered racist. So they've been priming us for what's happening now and what's coming ahead.
Which really leads me to Russell Brand now, response to the rape, sexual assault charges, says I was never a racist. The comedian turned guru Russell Brand has denied the sexual assault charges leveled against him by British police. The 49-year-old quickly vowed to fight the charges. Just hours after Metropolitan Police revealed the star had been accused of assaulting women from 1999 to 2005. If this guy was still an actor, if this guy was still on the left, this would never be close to happening. But he's a dissident. We see this happening time and time again. We saw what happened to Tommy Robinson in his life, and that guy's a patriot who will not stand down. God bless him. And the truth of the matter is, anybody who talks out against the globalist machine is doomed. And we can look at the elections in France. Look at how much pressure in Hungary. Look at how much pressure in Poland. It's anything that defies the EU, which is just another European version of the globalist agenda. Mm-hmm. They are assaulted and they're jailed and they are ruined.
Look at Le Pen, right?
Yeah. Marine Le Pen.
And meanwhile, Lagarde, the former IMF chief, who is put in one monstrous globalist position after another. Doesn't matter what she does. You look at her history of criminal activity, you'd think she got lessons from Joe Biden.
Yep.
Look at Elon Musk, though. That's the biggest shiny object in Europe. They're attacking Tesla dealerships in Europe. But look at Elon Musk. He was a hero globally.
Look what he's
a
doing
hero
with
globally for these
Starlink,
people.
keeping the communications going for Ukraine, and Ukraine defies it by sending bombs into Russia. And now they're making Elon Musk out to be the devil because he doesn't agree with them breaking the peace treaty. I mean, we live in bizarro world.
Yep. And you know what? That Russell Brand thing, I remember when that broke. 10 women. They found 10 women all at the same time. They just happened to find him. Now, and they're going after him. Never mind the Pakistani grooming gangs, I like to call them.
Right.
Rape gangs. Now, we're not going to go after them. Russell Brand says, all right, we're going to get him. It's 100% global. And the thing about the Teslas, remember, they were rioting and protesting in Europe over George Floyd. They don't care about George Floyd. They don't care about Elon Musk digging around with Doge. They don't care. This is the globalists. They're paying these people. Get out there. We got to walk around. It's nothing more than that.
That's what we need to expose.
And you want to add another name to that, don't forget Conor McGregor, right? He talked last year he should run for president of Ireland. What'd they do a few months later? Rape charges.
Right. Yeah.
That's their calling card.
Yeah,
it's like, how do we get them off the ballot? How do we take them out so people look at them with a look of scorn and say, I could never vote for that. He's a rapist or this or that. That's how they do it. They tried to do it with Trump.
The PP story.
Yeah,
I mean,
the PP tape that never existed, that nobody has except for Adam Schiff. I guess he watches it in the privacy of his own toilet or something. I don't know.
He still thinks it's real. I still hear PP tape. You know what they need? They need a slush fund so nobody knows that you're paying everybody off. You know, that's what we need to do, like Congress has. That's the one way to get around it. That's a sarcastic comment about our congressional leaders that have done exactly what we're talking about, that no one's ever heard of, through a slush fund that they have to pay people off.
Right. That it's a slush fund of taxpayer money.
Of taxpayer.
Because the senators aren't paying it out of their pocket. No. I had to have this congressional page in the toilet, but I need money to pay her off.
Audit them all.
Right.
All right, live from Studio 6B from the America First Warehouse on a Friday night. We got more to do. We're back right after this.
some. He used to be a
Scarborough had an issue too, where the girl died in his office.
Yeah. What about Schiff and his pool boy?
Schiff.
Yeah.
This George Floyd thing, didn't they find that he died of an overdose? Didn't it finally come out?
Yeah.
That data.
How about the
talk about being hoodwinked?
How about the leader of BLM at the time? There was video. There was recording of. There was recording of her saying the next time there's anything close to a racial incident, we are going to deploy everyone, and we're planning.
What do I got? BG and what else?
It was like an orchestrated, and they scrubbed that from everyone on the internet. We played that on our show when it first, and it was gone.
That's the Al Sharpton playbook. That Al Sharpton's way of making money. I know this for a fact.
Hello,
Would just say, I could protest. I could bring my, 80 people here. They're going to show up.
Yeah.
Or pay me.
Yeah. It was extortion.
It's extortion.
It was mafia.
BLM
attack.
is extortion.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Remember the Tawana
It's the
Brawley
biggest
story?
joke of a movement, isn't it? I was in D.C. I have lawyers there. They're on Black Lives Matter Plaza. I remember going one of the first times there. I'm like, are you kidding? They named an entire plaza right across from the Capitol. Black Lives Matter Plaza.
Outrageous.
Totally outrageous.
Because
Yeah, but didn't
all
Trump
lives
clean
matter
that
is
up?
evil.
What's that?
Trump cleaned that up, though.
Just now.
Just recently, yeah.
Just now. This has been going on for 8 years.
8 years.
8 years. Black Lives Matter Plaza. Yeah.
8 years.
8 years. Or 1.1 dog years. Yeah. 8 years. 8 years.
8 years?
8 years. Yeah. 8. What?
Well, 8 years.
Black Lives Matter's been around for 8 years.
Yeah, that started before that whole thing during COVID.
That started during Trump's first term.
Yeah.
Well, it started with the George Floyd thing, right?
No.
Before that.
It was before that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was before that.
Well,
It became more vocal.
It actually didn't do much before that.
No, that was part of their marketing scheme when that happened. That's when they
George
really
Floyd accelerated them big time. But they were out doing stuff, and they got a plaza named
But
after
they had
them.
planned. They had an orchestrated plan.
Yeah.
The first racial incident, where you have they were all like runners in a starting block, waiting for the moment for them all to pounce. And supposedly, I keep seeing it in my newsfeed that on the 4th, there's going to be every Antifa type rally everywhere they can. Supposedly, they're rallying the troops for the 4th or the 5th.
And that's why I get annoyed with this First Amendment thing. It's like there's an abuse of that has to be taken into account from a legal standpoint by our DOJ. Because they'll just keep doing this and faking people out.
Words are violence, Vin. Words are violence.
Yeah, exactly.
You're
BLM
genociding
was founded in 2013, Vin. I just looked it up.
Thank you,
Black
Rick
Lives Matter
Delgado.
movement, a social fighting against race. It was 2013 in response to the acquittal of George Zimmerman.
All right, sound like the blues on a Friday night from the America First Warehouse. Let me talk to you about our friends over at Birch Gold. Tariff wars, recession fears, and stubborn inflation. No wonder gold has been routinely hitting all-time highs. In volatile markets like right now, don't sit on the sidelines with your head in the sand. Take control and safeguard your savings. That's why so many Americans today are turning to Birch Gold. They've helped tens of thousands convert an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in precious metals, and specifically gold. It's time for you to hedge against inflation and economic instability with gold. I think it is. To learn how to own physical gold in a tax-sheltered account, text the word America and send it to 989898 from your mobile phone. Birch Gold will send you a free, no-obligation information kit. Again, all you have to do is text the word America to the number 989898. Birch Gold has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, countless 5-star reviews. You can trust Birch Gold to help protect your savings with gold. It took us decades to get into this tangled mess that the government's trying to unpack now. How long will it take to get out of it, and at what cost? Well, that's anybody's guess. Text America to 989898 today and talk to our friends at Birch Gold on how they can help you. Well, the IRS is the largest collection agency in the world, and with April 15th fast approaching, it's more aggressive than ever. In 2025, enforcement has ramped up, and if you owe back taxes or have unfiled returns, waiting is not an option. The longer you do, the worse it gets. Ignoring your tax troubles is the worst thing you can do. April 15th marks another tax year that has passed you by. Getting ahead of this now is the smart move, but never, never, ever contact the IRS alone. Instead, let the experts at Tax Network USA handle it for you. Why? Because not all tax resolution companies are the same. Tax Network USA has a preferred direct line to the IRS, meaning they know exactly which agents to deal with and which agents to avoid. With proven strategies to settle tax problems in your favor, whether you owe $10,000 or $10 million, Tax Network USA's attorneys and negotiators have already resolved over $1 billion in tax debt. Talk with one of their strategists today. It's absolutely free. Stop the threatening letters. Stop looking over your shoulder. And protect yourself from property seizures and bank levies. Don't let the IRS control your future. Call right now, 1-800-905-8000, 1-800-905-8000, or visit tnusa.com/RAV, tnusa.com/RAV. April 15th, just around the corner. Act now before the IRS acts first. 1-800-905-8000, 1-800-905-8000, or visit tnusa.com/RAV, tnusa.com/RAV. All right, 21 minutes past the hour of 9 o'clock on the East Coast. Let's do some sports. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell and My Pillow. Slickster's got it. Slickster, what's going on?
Well, breaking news. NHL. Alex Ovechkin ties Wayne Gretzky's all-time NHL goals record just moments ago. Ovechkin now has 41 goals in his 20th NHL season. Amazing for 39 years old. Ryan Morica, Fox News. Unbelievable. Wayne Gretzky finally has company. Gretzky became the NHL's all-time goal scorer back on March 23rd, 1994, when he surpassed Gordie Howe with his 802nd career goal. Now, 31 years later, someone has beside him as Alex Ovechkin tied Gretzky's record on Friday night. Ovechkin entered the game needing 2 to tie and 3 to become the new goals king. He lit the lamp just 4 minutes into the game against the Chicago Blackhawks. Just over 5 minutes into the third period, the Capitals won on the power play, an obvious on-ice scenario for Ovechkin, and he took advantage. He took a pass and squeaked it by Spencer Knight. All the Capitals came onto the ice as Ovechkin got a loud, long ovation. Gretzky was in the building to begin his trek of following Ovechkin along the way, but he won't be following for much longer. At the time of publishing, there was still 13 minutes left in the game, which is about 12 right now. Ovechkin was drafted with the first overall pick to Washington in 2004, but because of the lockout, his debut was postponed a year. Well, he's made up for lost time, and this is not a sense of stat compiling either, as Ovi looks to still be in his prime. In his 20th NHL season, the record-tying goal was Ovechkin's 41st of the year, which ranks third in the NHL behind only Leon Draisaitl and William Nylander. He's having a hell of a year. So unbelievable. Congratulations, Ovechkin. And they're going wild down there in Washington.
Guess who was sitting with Wayne Gretzky right to Gretzky's right? Guess who was sitting right next to him?
Who? Wayne Newton.
Someone tell the New York City mayor his new best friend was sitting next to Wayne Gretzky, Kash Patel.
Oh, wow.
FBI Director Patel was in the box sitting right next to Wayne Gretzky when the camera shot went to Wayne, and he stood up to rousing applause there. And there's Kash.
That's right. And Kash, we had Kash on the show not too long ago, right, Big D? Right from this stage. We had him on the show one night.
A couple times from here.
A couple of times, yes. So, friend of the show. Great stuff. So, congratulations on that. Just want to get to a couple more scores, Big D, before I throw it back to you. NCAA Women's Championship Final Four. South Carolina is advancing to the final. They defeated Texas handily, 74-57. UConn taking on UCLA. Coming up in about 8 minutes is the tip-off there on ESPN. So good stuff there, getting down to the final. And the Red Wings right now lead the Hurricanes 4-2. Just mentioned about the Capitals and Blackhawks. Capitals have gone ahead 4-3, 11 to go there in the third. Who knows? Before the show's over, Ovechkin may break the record. Islanders in U Bailey Score Arena have scored twice, and they lead the Wild right now 1-0, just entering the start of the third period. NBA action: Pacers 134-112 over the Jazz. Celtics 90-75 over the Suns. Pistons lead the Raptors 90-77. I'll get you some more scores in the next and final segment, as well as I'll bring you up to date on the baseball scores. Cincinnati Reds make a 61-year record tonight by losing another game without scoring. I will get into that as well in the next segment of sports.
Are they playing
Big
at
D,
the UBS
back to you.
also?
Yeah, Islanders and Reds, two of my favorite teams. Barely score ever. That's a wrap. Big D, back to you.
The Islanders scored twice, but they're up 1-0.
Hey, they're up 2-1.
2-1. Gotcha.
Only they could score twice and be only
that's
up
why
1-0.
I was waiting for that. I was gonna because that's how, as a diehard Islander fan, it's just misery.
Yeah, well, they're going to lose anyway, 3-2. That's a wrap.
with 3 seconds on the clock.
All right, Slick, very good. We'll do some more sports before we wrap the show. We'll make our final 4 selections, or we'll reveal, I guess, who's in our bracket since we've already made our selections. We haven't even done the craziest. We'll do news with Rick Delgado when we get back here. We haven't even talked about really the craziest, maybe the craziest story of the day involving another judge, and that is this Judge Paula Innis, I guess it's pronounced. Maybe the X is silent. Paula Innis, who is if you looked quick, you'd think it was Rachel Maddow. She is ordering the federal government to arrange the return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who was erroneously, quote unquote, deported to El Salvador and put in anti-terrorism prison. Not convinced he's an MS-13, she said. That's just chatter in my view. I haven't been given any evidence. So here you have a judge, I believe out of Maryland, who is telling the President of the United States that somebody who is a member of MS-13, who is an illegal alien here in the country, who is a citizen of El Salvador, that they need to return him to the United States. He was denied asylum by a second judge. I mean, this is so crazy.
It's at the point now where it's completely just irresponsible. And I know we've talked about this a little bit, but it's just time to ignore these people and these rulings, Mr. Trump. It's time. No more. Be called a dictator. You already called it. Like, people are already calling you these names. Who cares? Right?
Just steer into it.
Yeah, steer into it, exactly. That's a great way of putting it, because that's it. I've been pushing for that, because Damon, this is going to happen next week. There's going to be another judge out of, some other state, Colorado, that's going to say something dumb here and rule on something.
He should actually call this judge on the phone and just say no.
By the way, this is not the craziest. Big D, not the craziest story. Come to him after the break.
Okay. All right. KDJ is going to one-up me. All right. I say the president should call the judge and say, we'll bring him back, but he's going to stay at your house.
Yeah.
We'll bring him back when we get Rachel Morin back. How's that?
You got an Airbnb?
Yeah, exactly. All right, live from Studio 6B. More to do. We're back right after this.
It's hard to...
The comments...
Well, it's not only hard to deal with that, but it's also hard to deal with the left, who just is like, yeah, good for that judge. Way to go. Good thing to do. It's like, where are you from?
The media is leaning into it. You're talking about leaning into things? The media is leaning into this story.
Where are these people from?
You were talking earlier about Facebook, and the anti-Trumpers, no matter what he does, it's anti.
Doesn't matter.
So, and they'll still spew Politico and Reuters and every one of these globalist mouthpieces that all got the same talking points. So there were the typical gaggle of goofy liberals in my libertarian pages who somehow call themselves libertarians, but their status are arguing about the tariffs. And all you simply have to ask them, who is your favorite economist? What eco books have you read?
Right.
And not one of them ever can cite anything from Rothbard or Mises or even like a monetarist like Milton Friedman. They just will not. All they do is get like 2 lines of talking points, and they just babble. There's nothing there. There's no content. It's outstanding to me.
There's no real answers or information on anything that they stand for. There's only criticisms and hate,
right,
or judgment or emotional instability, which is what I'm seeing more of. Complete emotional instability.
This is decades of what Yuri Bezmenov called demoralization.
Yeah.
This country sucks. Everything
Totally
sucks.
on that.
Everything sucks. We suck.
Yeah, demoralization, without a doubt.
Delgado and I talked about that one night on the show, because it's really this brainwashing that has occurred, but it's part of what you just said. there, Kevin. That is a big part of that process, and it's real. We're seeing it every day.
I am certain that the market points are going to lead to a takeoff. We hit bottom, reset. I'm certain we're going to see a huge spike.
This market's emotional.
Without a doubt.
Emotional.
This is fear porn, driving it down.
That's what it's just emotional. And what's going to happen is there'll be some good news, some great buys, and that's all going to go. By the way, we're only a little bit below where we were last November.
Right.
You realize that?
Yeah.
Excuse me 1 second. Ticked off Patriot, thank you. It's great to see everyone in the LFS 6B crew chat doing this Friday show. $10 super chat. Thank you. Wanted to get that in.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Ticked Off.
Did you do the thing about the Minnesota cop who called the Tesla attacker a victim? Do you guys cover that?
No.
Oh, do you see the video?
The guy
It's
crying?
embarrassing. What's that?
The guy crying like a baby. What he got?
All right, 30 minutes past the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Friday night, live from the America First Warehouse, Long Island, New York. And we are looking forward to seeing the live from Studio 6B audience here. Well, May 2nd, I think, is going to be the big day. Maybe I'm breaking news here that I'm not supposed to, but I think May 2nd is going to be the day. And we're excited to see you here. And it'll be up close and personal, by the way, when you're here. Like in your lap. I don't hear you.
As close as your chair is to falling off that stage.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn close.
Yeah, it is.
It's going to be close, yeah. So we'll do a little more sports with Slick before the end. We'll make our Final Four predictions. We'll try to get to KDJ, Paul Nolan, Vinnie Mac here before we wrap. Let's do a little more news right now, though, with Rick Delgado. What else is going on today, Delgado?
All right. Well, I don't know if you saw this, but King Charles, Damon,
asked to step away.
He has returned to public duties after his hospital visit. The King returned to public engagement this week after side effects from his cancer treatment stopped him from carrying out visits last week. The King rested in Highgrove, they call it, his estate in Gloucestershire, over the weekend, and will get back to official duties in coming days, including an audience with the Prime Minister and at Windsor Castle.
Oh, I read that someone had said that he has been asked to step away due to his health concerns.
That was last week. This week,
I saw that
he's
today.
back.
Okay.
The King spent a short time in hospital. They say in jolly old England, they call it in hospital, in London last Thursday after suffering temporary side effects from his cancer treatment with a visit to Birmingham. Despite having to attend hospital, he said he was feeling very well later that day and carried out some light work at Clarence House before having dinner with the Queen. So there you have it. It just reminds me of a little thing from, I don't know if you heard about this guy, Nostradamus, who actually predicted King Charles' reign would be cut short and that this person, the new monarch who would take his place, probably won't be Prince William. I'm just saying, I don't know. Nostradamus, big name, knows some stuff.
Did we just get pulled from the network?
Track record.
Nostradamus we have over here.
Yeah, we got Nostradamus.
the person, what did you say? The what?
Nostradamus.
Won't be who?
Won't be Prince William.
Won't be his son.
Won't be his first son.
Is it going to be Meghan Markle?
It could be Harry. They're thinking
Any
it could
other
be Harry.
Any other news on inbred families?
Tell the King to get a job.
What was her character in Suits? Man, she deserves maybe to be the queen.
She should be queen.
Maybe she should be the king queen. Or does it matter anymore? Can she identify as a king or whatever?
Sure. You identify whatever you want to do.
I don't know. I think that's lasted longer than I
Rachel,
thought.
right? Wasn't that her deal in Suits, Rachel?
Yeah. Speaking of well-spoken.
By the way, have you seen the new Suits? Oh my God.
No.
Is it good? They went to the
Or is it
well.
terrible?
They went to the well too many times.
I've never seen that
you
show.
You can't recreate magic. You
No.
just can't.
Nah.
Oh, it's so brutal. It's the worst thing I've ever seen.
There's only one Harvey.
Oh, it is so bad. It's unwatchable. Unwatchable.
Sounds like the new Disney movie, Snow White. Speaking of things that are watchable and well-speaking white men, let's do one of our favorites. Stephen Miller of the Trump administration talking about tariffs. Now, I know that sounds very exciting to most people.
Sure.
But when you hear Stephen Miller talk, then you're like, I can listen to this guy all day. Here's cut number one, Stephen Miller on Trump's tariffs. Check this out.
Can someone explain to me? We protect and defend South Korea. And in exchange, they steal our automobile industry, they steal our electronics industry. We protect and defend Japan, and in exchange, they close their market to our cars. We protect and defend Canada, and they run up a massive trade deficit with us. We protect and defend all of Europe at a cost of trillions of dollars over time, and what do? They run an over $300 billion trade deficit with the United States. Why should America protect the world, send foreign aid to the world, defend the world, provide for the world, and in exchange, get ripped off by every other country in the world? And what do they have to show for it? The deindustrialization of the heartland, the destruction of the American dream, the eradication of our industrial and manufacturing base that we need for our national security, and the crushing of the American dream. It has to stop, not to mention $36 trillion in debt.
Yeah, so there you have it. Stephen Miller talking about tariffs. Speaking of tariffs, Damon, President Trump said today he had a productive call with the top Vietnamese official, adding that the communist Southeastern Asian nation wants to cut their tariffs down to 0.
What a shock.
And he wants to explore a free trade agreement.
Oh, people are caving, huh?
Yes, exactly. Trump's statement on the call with To Lam, Communist Party of Vietnam General Secretary, say that 10 times fast, helped boost shares of apparel brands Nike, Lululemon, and American Eagle, all of which have large manufacturing operations in his country, as all major indexes have plunged for a second day in a row. Now, we talk about, things plunging here, the stock market's plunging here, but it's plunging around the world as well, and those people are getting very nervous.
Maybe Lululemon's prices could plunge in this deal. Can we work that out?
Yeah, my God. Try to get a pair of socks.
If my wife and daughter want any more pants from there for $90, I think I'm going to...
this would be a good time to maybe play the first 2 minutes of that Nancy Pelosi from 30 years ago, because this addresses fully what you just said here now. Can we play
Baron
that?
Cut 5, if we have it? Nancy Pelosi?
How far does China have to go? How much more repression? How big a trade deficit and loss of jobs for the American worker? And how much more dangerous proliferation has to exist before members of this House of Representatives will say, I will not endorse the status quo? As I mentioned, it's about jobs, proliferation, and human rights. And there are those who say we shouldn't link human rights and trade and proliferation and trade. I disagree. But if we just want to take up this issue on the basis of economics alone, indeed, China should not receive most favored nation status for several reasons that I'd like to go into now. I'd like to call the attention of our colleagues to this chart on the status quo that the business community is asking each and every one of you, one of us, to endorse today. Right now, we have a $34 billion trade deficit with China, the 1995 figure. It will be over $40 billion for 1996. Since the Tiananmen Square massacre, this figure has increased 1,000%, from $3.5 billion then to about $34 billion now. In terms of tariffs, I think it's interesting to note that the average U.S. MFN tariff on Chinese goods coming into the United States is 2%, whereas the average Chinese MFN tariff on U.S. goods going into China is 35%. Is that reciprocal? On exports, China only allows certain industries into China, of U.S. Industries into China, and therefore only 2% of U.S. exports are allowed into China. On the other hand, the U.S. allows China to flood our markets with a third of their exports, and that'll probably go over 40%. And it's limitless because we have not placed
China
any
one of the freest societies in the world.
In terms of jobs, this is the biggest and cruelest hoax of all. Not only do we not have market access, not only do they have prohibitive tariffs, not only are our exports not let in very specifically, but China benefits with at least 10 million jobs from U.S.-China trade. The president, in his statement requesting this special waiver, said that China trade supports 170,000 jobs in the United States, 170,000 jobs, whereas our imports from China support 10 million jobs at least. Fact is that U.S.-China trade is a job loser. And one of the reasons that it is because in order...
At what point is this on every news cycle? I mean, in every state, these people are just political, prostitutes. They just whore themselves out for whatever the next thing that their talking points are. You can't. How do you deny the logic of this? Let's bring manufacturing here. Let's get people working here. Let's give people a sense of hope here. What do we see? Like almost $7 trillion in investment coming back to the States. That's going to make this market explode with prosperity. The future's bright. I'm going to stick with it. I think the tariffs overall long-term are a bad thing. But as I said, the saber rattling is doing exactly what it set out to do.
Yeah.
It's going to lower the tariffs across the board. And when everybody's building their products here and people are working here and more people are pumping into the system, we'll see this reduction in the deficit, and we might see a civilized tax code for the working man.
Yeah, and again, back to Vietnam, their deputy prime minister, Ho Duc Phuoc.
Who?
Say that again.
Bless you.
That's not number 41 on the menu.
I needed to get that. I needed to get that in. Ho Duc Phuoc asked
I'll take
Friday.
that with the mustard.
Sorry, I got a call from the FAA. No, it's a name.
No MSG.
Before the phone call with Trump and the Trump administration, he asked them to delay the imposition of the global tariffs for up to 3 months in hopes that they could work out this deal. So there you have it. The world is they're starting to get nervous because
the line into the Oval Office to cut deals is going to start to get longer and longer.
Exactly. Because again, we've talked about it. We are the buyer. So everybody needs to sell to us. We don't necessarily need to sell to them because a lot of countries we can't. You don't see Corvettes driving around in Europe.
Never.
So,
in Germany, you'll never see an American car.
Exactly.
Well, the tariff to do it is crazy.
Yeah.
But, China does, first of all, China is no longer the low-cost manufacturer they were. Vietnam is, and other places in Asia are, but China's middle class has grown. They're making money. It's no longer that place where it's super, super cheap. 2, China is really good at one thing, bribing. Why do you think all this is happening? They're paying off so many people, millions and millions of dollars all over the world to continue to do stuff. Trump is the first president. All these people coming to negotiate, he's the first president to call them out. And he's walking the walk. Now, they just double down their tariff thing, right? Fine. Let's have a trade war with them. Like, I'm good with that. I want to work it out with Canada. I'd like to work it out with all these other folks. But China, we have to. And the fact that we manufacture so many products there still, fine. Force it all to come back here. We went through hell with COVID, where we couldn't get our own product, couldn't get our own drugs, couldn't get our own stuff. And it's about time we called them out. And if we're going to have a fight with anyone on this particular issue, I'd rather that be the fight. Because they're the big giant in the world in terms of manufacturing and exporting and all that, with the biggest disparity in the world, especially for our country. So kudos to Trump for taking them on. And you saw this thing about TikTok today.
Yeah.
So he has a deal.
Did OnlyFans buy it?
He makes. I didn't get the details of who was the buyer, but he had a deal. The tariff thing, they'll be back, but the tariff thing backed it up. But you got to give this guy credit. Put together, this is a mammoth deal. This is not, a couple of $100 million. This is a couple of $100 billion, going through here.
And on the heels of that, they are now trying to create legislation that's to protect the U.S. citizens' DNA that has been proliferated through all these DNA and me tests and stuff.
Yeah, 23andMe.
23andMe and all these places.
Which went bankrupt, I think, last week.
Did they?
And
all that
people
DNA
have been told,
data.
say, hey, try to get your stuff back from them so they don't sell it on.
Oh, yeah. I was always reluctant to do that.
What, get your information back?
No, to do the 21andMe.
Oh yeah.
Well, nobody did a better bit than South Park on it. I'm 2% victim.
Yeah.
Aren't we all?
So.
All right, live from Studio 6B on a Friday night at the America First Warehouse. We're back to wrap up the week. Kevin Dowdy Jr., Paul Nolan, Vinnie Mac. We'll do sports with Slick, Rick Delgado. We'll wrap it up when we get back right after this.